if you could just tell us who you are cosplaying as this weekend.
I'm cosplaying as Zatanna from the Justice League, comics by DC.
And I'm Echidna from the Bouncer. Hi again.
And so, other than yourselves, what's the best costume you've seen so far this weekend?
I'll let you take this one.
I don't watch the series, but I actually really liked the Painted Titan, just because I'm really impressed with painted bodysuits, because I don't like doing it myself, so just well done. That's been my favourite, to be honest, for that reason.
And so, did you make your own costume?
No, not this one. Normally I do, but this one was just, it's too complicated for me to make. It's cheaper and easier to just buy it. But
so, what costumes have you made?
So I've got to go through my list now. I've made Supergirl, the Huntress from Birds of Prey, made 2 versions of Psylocke from X-Men. I'm about to start a 3rd version of her. I quite like cosplaying Psylocke. I'm in the process of making the Major from Ghost in the Shell. I've made Mulan. I've made costumes for other people as well. I've made a Spider-Man. I've made Hope Summers from the X-Men. I've made Shadowcat from the X-Men. Nightwing, Batgirl I've made a lot.
A long list.
Yeah.
So, out of all the costumes you've done so far in however long you've been cosplaying, which is your favourite?
My favourite looking is Huntress, but she's really not comfortable to wear. As is this one, it's not comfortable, but I think it's between this one or my Psylocke. Yeah.
For me, it would have to be Zack Fair from Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core riding a chocobo. It was a lot of money and a lot of time for 1 minute on stage, but it was really worth it.
And so, how long have you been cosplaying?
3 years, both of us.
It's actually a rather nice story. 3 years ago, 2010 MCM Expo, where we met and where we first cosplayed, and now we're here being guests at Camcon.
It's particularly nice because when we started together, we branched off into 2 separate sections of cosplay. So Naomi went to video games and anime, and I went into superhero. And somehow we've come back together again, and we're just like, because we kind of lost contact for a little while. And then just as we kind of, I don't know, just in the last 6 months, our 2 cosplay paths have converged again. It's really nice.
And so, do you have any plans for future costumes?
Yeah, there's actually 2 costumes, which I'm ridiculously excited about. There's Batgirl, but it's a version of Batgirl I've never seen done as a costume before, and I'm making the cowl on my own, and a big, huge 360 leather cape, and everything, and I'm just ridiculously excited about this one. And there's a character from the Teen Titans called Ravager, and I actually bought the first pieces for it yesterday, and it's 2,000 scale mail scales, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. So,
well, following that, the next one's a bit of a interesting one for how you take it. What would be your dream costume? Money, no object.
Oh. I really don't know.
I answered this question.
Oh, you already look. Okay, so dream costume, no money, no object. That's really difficult to answer. It'd have to be something really armoured and At the moment, I'm kind of looking at the armour from Pacific Rim, but it would have to be, I don't know.
Oh, stumped her.
Yeah, because Ravager's quite an exciting one just because I get to use chainmail. I like Makomori from Pacific Rim, in her armoured stuff. Actually, Samus, the Metroid armour. I would love to have Samus, the full Metroid armour, but not in foam, just something really nice material. Plastic maybe, because it's light.
So, what is a challenge that you've had to overcome to make a particular costume that you didn't necessarily see coming when you started the costume?
Have you answered this one as well?
No, this is a new one. I thought.
I'm quite meticulous when it comes to planning. I actually do strange things like draw up budgets and write timelines and plan each element in several different ways and then come to a conclusion as to the best way. As you might be able to tell from this, my background is as a scientist, which I kind of apply to my cosplay. So as a result, generally my plans work. I suppose, again, with the chocobo, what I did was made digitigrade stilts. I did have to make sure I kept tightening the bolts because they tried to unscrew on occasion. If they'd come undone, I'd have probably broken my legs.
So an unexpected thing. I'm trying to think of one because I think most of mine are just like fabric problems. So I've picked a fabric which I thought would work, and then either something terrible has gone wrong, and like I've just had to either try and salvage it, or I just don't have enough time before the convention to go buy more fabric. There's usually for me fabric issues or sewing machines. My sewing machine doesn't like me.
I have one. Last year, the week before the ECG qualifiers, my sewing machine died and I had to find a new one within the space of 5 days to finish my costume.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any advice for new cosplayers?
My main advice is study your character. Like, even if you don't know, if you're just doing it because you like the design and you don't know the character, study pictures of that character, because it's, even if you don't know who they are, it's going to make you feel more confident in the costume, and if you're more confident in the costume, you're going to have more fun. So that's my thing, just make sure you know your character, whether it's just how they pose or whether you know the personality, because if you know your character, then the worst thing is to be in costume and not have fun. So I've done that. Have you already done that?
And so, what do you look for in a character when you decide to cosplay a character? What do you?
For me, apparently this is the wrong way to pick characters, but I look at physique. So if I've got a similar physique, and also, as bad as it sounds, my friends are constantly telling me off for this one, whether they're Asian or not. My friends are constantly telling me off because they're like, it doesn't matter if you're cosplaying a non-Asian character. But for me, it's a big, very important thing. But also, besides the physical side, I like to cosplay like characters that I click with. So a lot of my characters are characters that I look up to in comic books. So usually it'll be the ones that I admire, the people I want to do justice. But yeah, because there's one character I will not cosplay because I just do not feel like I'm worthy of it, and that's Supergirl. Because I just do not feel worthy of the S, and for me, I could never wear a super costume just because it's the S. So.
How do I choose my costumes? To be honest, most of my choices are based on nostalgia. Characters from growing up, from my childhood, that were so important to me. For instance, I am not afraid to admit that I'm an enormous fan of Dragon Ball, and I had a crush on Gohan growing up, and then I became Gohan, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And so, keeping it under the 5 minutes of battery life I have on the camera, do you have any other interesting stories you can share from cosplaying conventions or making costumes?
I can say what my favourite thing about with the cosplay, there's like, when I started cosplay, I just thought I would have fun, and I never ever thought I would meet the people that I've met. Firstly, the friends I've made, we have some insane times where we're like trying to figure out how to go to the toilet, and the toilets are locked, we can't get out of costume, so we're just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do, and stuff like this. And there's been times where we bump into celebrities that we really admire, and like we'll be passed out, and the best one was at LFCC. Me and my friend have the biggest crush on Jason Momoa, and we were both passed out like on the floor, and he walked past, and was like, your girl's feeling hot, and we're like, he's like, see you later, and we were just like he just walked past, and we were just like, that was Jason Momoa. But then there's also meeting. I've met so many creators and writers and artists that I really admire. Now we're just chatting, like not quite Facebook, not quite like text messaging, but we chat on Facebook quite a lot, which is really nice. It's like, so there's too many strange encounters to actually. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there was a time when you first started cosplaying. This is my favourite memory, one of my favourites. We went to MCM and she was wearing Riku from Final Fantasy 12.
10-2,
Final Fantasy
which
10-2.
is again lacking in fabric.
Yeah, so it's quite skimpy. It's essentially just a bikini and hot pants sort of thing. And some guy went up to her, was like, "Can I hug you?" And she goes, "No." "Can I get your Facebook?" "No." "Can I get your phone number?" "No." "Can I hug you?" "No." And then we were
Well, it was more the can I have a kiss that was the big one. Yeah, it kind of created my rule about always going around with someone when in a skimpy costume.
yeah.
So there's another piece of advice.
Yeah.
Always try and have someone around you when you can. But I've had also I do a lot of photo shoots outside of conventions, and they don't feel like they would be good memories at the time. But actually, when I look back at them now, I've got so many. The one time when in this costume, I was taking photos in a cemetery, and I was sinking into the graves because of my heels. And I was like, "This is not good. This is not good. This is not good." Another time we had X-Men shoot, all the girls from X-Men, and we were in spandex, and we had arranged this in November. And come April, we were like, April's going to be fine. It's going to be nice and warm and sunny. No, it was snowing. There was a foot of snow on the ground, and we were all in spandex, and everyone's like, "It's not that cold," and we're just in leotards and spandex, just going, "It's really cold." And then we got chased out by the police.
And as an example of how things can go wrong, again back to the stilts, we were running the rehearsals for the European Cosplay Gathering Finals in Paris, so it was our first time on the stage. I'd been practicing my stilts for 2 months with no problems, and I went splat on the stage. But no one realised for a few seconds that I couldn't actually stand up by myself, so I was just sitting there going, "Hello," until someone came and scooped me up.
Great.
I didn't fall over on the main stage.